Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara. Welcome into this percussive space this morning as our drumming group offers us a special prelude and special music this morning. So grateful for all the different kinds of music that we bring into this space together. I'm the Reverend Julia Hamilton. I use she, her pronouns, and I am delighted to have you here with us this morning. Whether it is your first time or your 400th time, you are welcome here today. You're welcome here in this physical sanctuary where we gather, and you're welcome if you are joining us online in our virtual sanctuary. We are one community under this one sky on this one green earth. We are a loving community of seekers here at the Unitarian Society where we strive to live with integrity, nurture wonder, and inspire the actions that transform us and transform the world. If you're joining us here today and just getting to know us, we are going to be having a visitor orientation next Sunday. Normally we do this on the second Sunday of every month, but this month we're going to be doing it next Sunday. So stop by the front office after the service, ask any questions you like. We would love to get to know you, help you get to know each other, and all that is going on here in this wonderful community. And of course, you can always stop by the welcome table in the garden and fill out a connection card, or click that little visitor link online so that we can keep in touch with you about everything that is going on here. And if you've been attending for a while and you feel like this might be your community, this might be your spiritual home, we would love to welcome you into membership any Sunday. You can stop by the membership table to find out more and sign our membership book, and we will get you connected to the life of this congregation. We have a lot going on here beyond Sunday mornings. There are opportunities to sing, to be of service, to gather for fun and learning and community. Our drumming group is open and available to all. You don't even have to have a drum. You can just show up and join in the fun on Thursday afternoons. Talk to any of the folks you see up here. Likewise, our choirs are always open to newcomers. And we have our Lunch and Learn series going strong, which means that next Sunday, the next one-off workshop is called Befriending Your Mortality. It's a wonderful workshop that's going to be led by Eileen Bunning, who is our worship associate this morning, an opportunity to be present to those big questions of life and death that we all encounter. We also have our Taizé service coming up this Tuesday evening. Our Taizé service is a once-a-month evening opportunity to gather and sort of settle your spirit, to sing very simple songs, to sit in silence. We have some readings. We put candles all around the sanctuary. It's a lovely breath in the middle of the week, and that's Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. Our ministerial intern, Carolyn Bierke, who has a much better voice than I do, will be helping lead that. We also have a very special religious education program coming up next Sunday. So if you have kids or youth, please talk to Charla Brigante to sign up for our Wilderness Youth Program field trip that is happening next Sunday. We are partnering with Wilderness Youth, which is a long-standing Santa Barbara institution that gets kids out of doors, and they're running a special field trip for our kids next Sunday. So talk to Charla for more information. And finally, it's not too soon to mark your calendars for our Flower Communion and annual meeting that is happening on June 8th. Go ahead and plan on being here that Sunday for a beautiful annual tradition. Bring a flower with you, and then stay for the work of our congregation as we chart the year ahead. And that's going to be on June 8th. I invite you now to take a breath. With all that is going on here, all that is going on in our lives and in the world, give yourself the gift of this moment, this hour together in community, as we ring our bell and let the sound connect us.
As we light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through us to the world around us.
Each and every week, we lift up a good thing, something that reminds us that creative energy for good and building the beloved community happens all the time, even amidst hard times. So you're invited to think of your own good thing, something you've witnessed, large or small, that has reminded you that people are working for a more loving world. And for our collective good thing this morning, I have this reminder that there are creative acts of resistance going on all around us. And what you're looking at here are some new flags for the city of Salt Lake in Utah. And the reason the city of Salt Lake in Utah has some new flags is because the state passed an ordinance that pride flags could not be flown in any official government buildings. Only the official flags of government entities could be flown in official government buildings. So the city of Salt Lake created some new official flags. They created, the city flag there is the one that pre-existed up in the upper corner there with the blue and the white. And they created a flag based on the pride flag, a flag based on the transgender visibility and celebration flag, and a flag based on the Juneteenth celebration flag that can all be flown legally in any government cities in the city of Salt Lake. And that is a good thing. I would invite you now, let's take a chance to get to know each other a little bit. That helps us build our creative resistance, our muscles for community. So take just a moment and say hello to the person next to you, extend a greeting, and then we will sing together. I love hearing the hum of conversation, and I invite you to continue these connections after the service over coffee or tea. But right now, we are going to sing together. So let's please rise in body and spirit. We're going to sing Morning Has Broken, number 38 in the gray hymnal or the words on your screen. Matthew has the Sunday off, but our singers are going to be up here to help lead us in song this morning. Thank you, singers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charla Bergante, and I am the Director of Religious Exploration around here. My pronouns are she, her, and it is my delight to invite any children or anyone else to come forward for a story this morning. I saw some kids, but I don't know if they're coming up. Here they come. And they made some jewelry before they came up. I like those bracelets, Soren. Wonderful. I'm going to scoot back a little so I can see you. Good morning, welcome. So, in a town in Calabria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Stregonona. Do you know this story? Oh, we'll find out. Which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went, because Stregonona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil, water, and a hairpin. I use Advil myself, but she made special potions for girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Stregonona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden, so she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't really pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Stregonona, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her. And you must fetch the water. For this, I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. "The one thing you must never do, though," said Stregonona, "is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see, yes," said Big Anthony. And so the days went by. Then, one evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Stregonona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Stregonona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. I wish it was that easy to make dinner. Then Stregonona sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." And Stregonona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't get to see Stregonona blow 3 kisses at the magic pot. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself? "I'll show them," he said to himself. "Someday I'll get the pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry." Well, just 2 days later, Stregonona said to Big Anthony, "Anthony, I must go over the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. For your lunch, I've left you some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot." Do you think he's going to touch it? I think they know. "Oh, yes, yes, Stregonona," said Big Anthony. But inside he was thinking, "Now's my chance." As soon as Stregonona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. Now let me see if I remember the words, he said to himself. And then Big Anthony sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough to fill me up." And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. "Aha," said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, "Everyone get forks and plates and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Straganona's house. Big Anthony has made the magic pasta pot work." Of course, everyone laughed, but they ran home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls, and sure enough, when they got to Straganona's, the pasta pot was so full it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls, and there was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters from the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings, but the pot was never empty. When all had their fill, Big Anthony sang, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day." But what did he forget to do? Do you know? Your mom just gave you a hint. But alas, he did not blow the 3 kisses. Uh-oh. He went outside, and to the applause of the crowd, Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling until a sister from the convent said, "Oh, Big Anthony, look!" And pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Straganona's house and was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it. But the pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well and spilled on the floor of Straganona's house. "Stop!" yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop. The pasta had all but filled the little house, and out the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. I keep imagining pasta coming down the center aisle of our church and out the door. The townspeople began to worry. "Do something, Big Anthony," they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it did no good. "We must protect the town from the pasta," shouted the mayor. "Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade." But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling and the pasta kept coming. "We're lost," said the people, and the priest and the sisters of the convent began praying. "The pasta will cover the town," they cried. And it certainly would have, had Straganona not come down the road home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what had happened. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses. And with a sputter, the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. "Oh, grazie, thank you, Straganona," the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. "String him up," the men of the town cried. "Now wait," said Straganona, "the punishment must fit the crime." And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. "All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pasta pot," Straganona said, "and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight, so start eating." And he did. Poor Big Anthony. And that is our story for this morning. Let's sing our children out.
Sometimes love is the magic ingredient that helps us determine the difference between enough and too much. Let us sing our children out to their classes.
To
I invite you now to settle yourself once again wherever you are into a time of prayer and reflection together. I invite you to get in touch with your breathing where you are. Maybe settle yourself in the pew or the chair at home. You can close your eyes or keep them open. Soften yourself at this moment. And as we enter this time of reflection and prayer together, I would like to start by reminding us that Mother's Day is a peace holiday at its origin. That Julia Ward Howe, whose name is on that window over there, wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation in 1870, which begins like this. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender to those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. Today we recognize that the nurture and care of our children is not limited to any one gender, but that all of us are entrusted with the care of future generations, and that war and violence robs parents of their children, and it tears down the nurturing spirit that we hope to instill in our young ones. So we embrace this day as a peace holiday, an activist holiday, where we call upon our leaders to remember those who gave them life and honor them with the caring for the lives of others, remembering that all nations have children and parents who grieve their loss when violence tears them from us. And so we recommit this day to the work of peace, so that the horrors of war do not reinscribe themselves on another generation. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Let us enter into a time of quiet where we touch that place of peace deep within our own hearts as we extend it out to a hurting world. invite you to stay seated right where you are to sing together Spirit of Life, number 123 in the gray hymnal, or the words on the screen.
The first thing they teach you when you're going to speak is don't touch the mic. But it's okay if Julia does it. I'm Eileen Bunning. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, you can't hear me. Okay. Can you hear me better? Okay, thanks. I'm Eileen Bunning, in case I haven't had a chance to meet you. And it's a privilege to be here. When I heard that the service this morning was going to be about enough, I thought, this is a daunting question of what is enough? Enough of what? And when? Food, money, respect, freedom? The list could go on and on. And what began to come in my mind was myself growing up as an adopted child. My maternal mother died when I was about 2.5, while I was cared for by a very loving grandmother who had been a mother of 5 herself. Excuse me. She determined it was a handful to keep running the farm, care for an ailing husband, and caring for a 2-year-old. Excuse me a moment. Adopted by my newly married maternal aunt and her husband. While I was never told the circumstances of the adoption, I always suspected in some way I was different. Fearing I would be sent away or never really wanted, I became a good child. I cared for my new baby sister and a baby brother, and I became worried that since they now had their own children, they would love me less. I was raised Catholic. I had my first communion by memorizing the catechism, a book of beliefs, and was taught not to question why being a good Catholic was based on faith, and one has to believe. Okay? At home, I did my assigned chores, finished my homework, and when I brought home all A's on my report card, I felt confused when my father asked, "Don't they give out A+s?" I did not take this as the teasing it was meant to be. Little did I know, but I was becoming the young woman who never felt good enough. It was the late 50s, and the appropriate women roles was to be a nurse, secretary, teacher, or a good housewife. So I aced my science classes, took 3 years of Latin, and took as many challenging classes in math that I could. On graduating high school, I got a scholarship that covered my first 2 years of nursing school, including books and uniforms. My father was very proud of me, while my mother expressed concerns. Wow, where did this come from? It's Mother's Day. I'm not blaming you guys. Well, my father was very proud of me, while my mother expressed concern that people would think we were poor and could not have afforded to send me to a good school. I began to realize the mixed messages that I had been taking in. While I was a good nurse and often loved my work, I struggled against what I felt was a very paternalistic medical system. This was the early 60s. When I was offered an opportunity to use my healthcare background to work in the business world, I jumped at it. I dressed in suits, carried a briefcase, wore those little ties, if any of you remember doing that. Because we weren't good enough, right? We had to be like the men. Okay. So I read new books coming out, like Things Your Mother Ever Taught You and The New Executive Woman. These coached me to read the sports pages, develop a taste for martinis, and be able to keep the conversation up with the men. It was exhausting. It was the early 1990s when I finally made my way into graduate school to work on a master's in psychology with my focus on death and dying. But the best gift for me was the class on women's studies. It was there I began realizing how I was carrying this wound of never believing I was good enough. And actually, it was all around me. I fit the model of the woman overachiever. I joined not one, but 2 women's circles. We defined and celebrated our feminine selves. We listened and heard each other and shared books and poetry. We drummed together and danced on the beach and swam with the seals. During a discussion about spirituality, an elder woman once asked me, "Eileen, have you ever considered that God could have been a woman?" Another world broke open for me when I started reading the women scholars who were researching and redefining spirituality for women. Examples being The Chalice and the Blade by Renee Eisler, and Women's Spirit Rising, Carol Christ, Judith Plasto, some of these may ring for you, and many, many more. My guilt from not adhering to my Catholic upbringing began to leave me. With one group of women, I did a ritual, and they dared me to light a black candle. And when lightning did not strike after I lit it, we all laughed and cried and clapped. I was finally coming into my own being, and I loved it. I was still becoming who I was meant to be, and I feel I am still now evolving and becoming enough just by being. And I really feel blessed to be here at the Unitarian Society, where I can live my values of compassion and love. Thank you. What do I do with this? Each month, a portion of our collection goes to assist one of the many services in our community, and this month we are supporting Transition House. Transition House is dedicated to the solution of family homelessness in the Santa Barbara community. Families with children are offered life tools and respectful residential services designed to alleviate poverty and restore self-sufficiency and dignity, a very worthy service. Please join as we say our affirmation of gratitude. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Thank you so much for bringing the voices of the drums into our sanctuary this morning, our drumming group. And thank you, Eileen, for bringing your voice as one of our worship associates this morning. Good morning, everyone. In 2005, the author Kurt Vonnegut published a poem about Joseph Heller, who wrote the novel Catch-22. Joe Heller, true story, word of honor. Joseph Heller, an important and funny writer, now dead, and I were at a party given by a billionaire on Shelter Island, I said, "Joe, how does it make you feel to know that your host only yesterday may have made more money than your novel Catch-22 has earned in its entire history?" And Joe said, "I've got something he can never have." And I said, "What on earth could that be, Joe?" And Joe said, "The knowledge that I've got enough." Not bad. Rest in peace. Vonnegut was reminding us that if someone has the knowledge that they have enough, they can truly rest in peace. And not just have enough, but know that they are enough, to fundamentally trust the enoughness of their own humanity. Well, this seems like it can be the work of a lifetime, can't it? 20 years after Vonnegut wrote this poem, and despite the fact that there are now dozens and dozens of self-help books out there proclaiming the gospel of enoughness, it still seems, well, not enough. It is to say that every week I find myself revisiting this question within myself and the conversations that I have with you all, with others. Am I enough? Are we enough? Enough to meet this moment, to rise to the occasion, to heal what can feel like overwhelming trauma personally and collectively. Enough to sustain the dreams we have for ourselves and our children. Enough to get through the next 48 hours of the news cycle. Enough to get through the next week of sobriety. To get through the next heat wave, the next drought, the next fire, the next flood. Are we enough? The Reverend Lynn Harrison said once that we live in a world that feels at once too much and yet never enough. You are not alone if you are often left feeling at once overwhelmed and inadequate. And when faced with all the troubles of the world, as well as the challenges that inevitably come as part of our human lives, I don't blame any of us for feeling this way. But it is precisely when we feel this way, when I feel this way, that I have a choice. I can stay alone inside this small, fearful place, or I can lean into something larger than myself. So I start with the simple statement of our faith that every person has inherent worth and dignity. This idea that we all have worth, this seems simple at first. It seems like an obvious claim to make, this common thread in our humanity, an acknowledgement that no one is disposable, that life has value, that we are not broken sinners but whole humans, that we are enough. And yet this seemingly simple statement is something that sometimes in our new member gatherings, and even for some of us who have been here for years, it is a statement that can bring us to tears. To hear it said out loud, without hesitation, that you have worth, that you have dignity, that what is within you is enough. To believe this can feel radically countercultural in this too much yet never enough world. The Reverend Karen Johnson puts it this way: there is something about experiencing one's enoughness that feels to me a lot like knowing one's worth is inherent, that oneself has dignity. There is something about honoring, even celebrating the enoughness of others that feels to me a lot like recognizing and affirming the inherent worth and dignity of every individual. There is something about centering and prioritizing the enoughness of those who are systematically marginalized and demeaned and regularly considered less than that feels to me a lot like moving toward beloved community. That when we recognize the enoughness within ourselves, within others, within a world that systematically demeans people. This is what it takes to move toward beloved community. Placing our faith in enoughness and worth for yourself, and especially for those whose society has regularly devalued, this can be a radically transformative act. And yet, I hear you say often in these conversations where we're wrestling with this feeling of good enough, what about all of the ways in which we fail? What about the times we let each other down? We make terrible decisions sometimes, don't we? We betray ourselves and each other. What about the people who hurt, who do violence, the horrible systems of war that we bear witness to? If there is enough, why do we fight? And why do we dominate? And why do we hoard? If there were enough, wouldn't we be better to one another? Don't we have plenty of evidence that human beings are fundamentally flawed? Well, yes, of course, we are not all just goodness and grace. That is true. But being enough is not the same thing as being perfect. Being loved does not mean never feeling fear. Having inherent worth and dignity does not mean that you do not also have the capacity to do harm. Those things don't contradict each other. They exist together. Imperfection is not the same thing as inadequacy. Imperfection, all of us being imperfect human beings, is not the same thing as inadequacy. It does not mean that we are not also enough. We are all imperfect. Humanity is imperfect. But we are not inadequate. We are not inadequate to the task of loving each other and loving the world. There is that capacity to love within all of us alongside everything else. This capacity to love and be loved, this is also unshakably true. It is when we are separated and cut off from that sense of enoughness, from that sense of our own self-worth, that we find it easier to deny the worth of others. When we cannot feel loved without judgment or shame, it is so much easier to pass judgment and shame onto those around us. The billionaire in Vonnegut's poem, his problem was not that he didn't have enough. His problem was that he didn't know he had enough. The human capacity to do harm increases when we lose that sense of enoughness that is inherent within us. And yet, individual enoughness is not where the story ends, of course. A few days ago, I was at the retirement celebration for my friend and colleague, Rabbi Steve Cohen, who is retiring from his leadership at Congregation B'nai B'rith, where he has served for over 20 years. And during the speeches that honored his remarkable career, someone mentioned that one of his great gifts was the courage to say, "I don't know." But he wouldn't just say, "I don't know," shrug his shoulders and walk away. He would say, "I don't know, but we will figure it out together." This is a statement of faith in enoughness. Not the enoughness of any one individual, but the enoughness that is present in community. We may be enough each and on our own, but we are not complete each and on our own. We need the enoughness of community to call us forward, to build and co-create with the enoughness of the world. It's this thread that runs from our individual enoughness to our collective enoughness, to faith in the enoughness of the world all around us. This faith in the sufficiency not just of ourselves, but of the gathered community. This is not faith in any one particular outcome, or finding the one right way above all other ways, or believing that nothing can go wrong once we find that one right way. We all know that's not true. But rather, it is a faith that in whatever the answer might be to the question that we didn't even know when we began, that we have the capacity to figure it out together, to call forth the answers along the way, trusting we will find what we need as we go. A faith that no matter the question, there is always enough right here to move forward together toward an answer, stronger together as we live into that answer. What powerful words to bring into a community over a lifetime of service. I don't know, but we will figure it out together. For some, and perhaps for Steve, this enoughness might be one aspect of what we call God. A faith in the fundamental enoughness of life, of the creative force in the universe that somehow shines through. For some of us, we might just describe it as the way the universe seems to work. Bulgarian-born author Maria Popova calls it nature. Nature, she says, that eternal pasture of enoughness, which knew from the outset to create just enough more matter than antimatter for the first small seed of something to bloom into everything, which knows daily to make everything from the electron to the elephant take up just as much space and energy as it needs to be exactly what it is, which made every life finite and set a limit even to the speed of light. She goes on to say, it may be that nature invented love to teach us the art of enoughness, to learn how to open the heart to another without condition or expectation, to be fully welcomed in another heart in order to learn the hardest axiom of being, she says, that we are and always were enough. It is through that experience of love, our capacity to love and be loved, that we learn we are enough. And it is this same experience of love, this experience of being inherently worthy, that calls us out from our insecurities and fears and aloneness into community. Into that place where combined enoughness means that no single one of us has to have all the answers. What a relief. When you feel like you are not enough because you don't already know, lean into community. Let go of that sense that you have to know to be enough. Trust in that co-creation that leads us toward the answers together. This is what I mean when I say that we are here to cultivate an ethic of enoughness instead of an ethic of scarcity. An ethic of enoughness is more than just the self-help cheerleading of individual achievement. It is deeper than fixating on the outcome of any one situation. It is a statement of faith, a way in which we order our sense of the world and discern how to act accordingly to that ethic. That is what an ethic is, after all. It's a system of beliefs about what constitutes the right and the good and helps us answer that eternal question, what should we do? That's why you have, for example, ethics boards at the hospital, right? When they get into a thorny question of what to do next, it helps them figure out right and wrong according to a set of principles. You might have heard, for example, of the Protestant work ethic, this questionable theology that working hard is the way to demonstrate your salvation, to prove that you have been chosen by God. There are all kinds of ethical systems, some of which I agree with and many of which I don't. An ethic of scarcity, for example, might say that we should make decisions based on the assumption that we will always have fewer resources than we need, and that we'll simply have to accept the fact that some people will not eat or be housed or be cared for. An ethic of scarcity might say that we must determine who is worth these limited resources so they are not wasted on the undeserving or the undesirable. From a theological standpoint, the idea that only a certain number of people get into heaven, that love is limited by judgment, this is part of an ethic of scarcity. but an ethic of enough-ness, this belief that we are enough and that there is enough for everyone if we share, that nature itself is abundantly creative, and that when we work in community, we have what we need to thrive. Operating from this ethic of enough-ness influences then how we make our decisions in the world. And from a theological standpoint, this ethic of enough-ness means that heaven is not this VIP room for a tiny select few. It means that love is an endlessly renewable resource, and that self-worth is not earned, but inherent in our humanity. An ethic of enough-ness means that other people are not automatically assumed to be in competition for those scarce resources, but starting from the assumption that everyone has something worthy to bring into community, just by the virtue of their humanity. And an ethic of enough-ness is critical to working in solidarity across differences, because it means we don't come in assuming that we have what others don't, that we know more, that we need to control the outcome, but rather we bring trust and faith into the room to discover what emerges among us. Enoughness builds trust instead of fear, and it requires a surprising amount of courage, because it means that you don't get let off the hook by saying, I don't know. It means that you can't hide behind, oh, I shouldn't do it, I'll just get it wrong, or someone else will do it better. It means we can't give up, because there is always something else to try. And it means believing that when community gathers, a way forward will be made, even if we don't yet know the full destination. An ethic of enoughness is not an ethic that requires you to be perfect. In fact, it helps us recover from our imperfections, those inevitable moments of hurt and harm that come with being human. We begin to recover when we believe that we have the capacity to heal and grow, that we have enough within us to do that work. Without a sense of enoughness, we run the risk of becoming brittle and bitter, and withdrawing from the possibility of healing because we feel inadequate to the task. My friends, we are deeply, unshakably adequate. We are. We are enough. We are adequate to this task of being human, and there is nothing you can do or say that will ever convince me otherwise. We may not be everything. We are not finished. But we are enough. I invite you into a closing blessing with these words adapted from the Pali Canon, the Metta Sutta, by John and Sarah Gibb Millspaw. Breathe in, breathe out. This breath we share with all that breathes. Feel the love of the universe flowing through this community into you and out into the universe again. Let the love of all the universe, your love, flow outward to its height, its depth, its broad extent. You are more than you know, and more beloved than you know. Take up what power is yours to create safe haven, to make of earth a heaven. Give hope to those you encounter that they may know safety from inner and outer harm. Be happy and at peace, healthy and strong, caring and joyful. Be the blessing that you already are. You are enough. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. We We are going to sing together our final song, Peace Like a River. However, we're going to sing it a little differently than it's printed. We're going to have a little bit of an alternate lyric on the screen. Instead of singing, I've got peace like a river, we're going to sing, we've got peace like a river, right? Leaning into that ethic of enoughness and community. And there's several verses. Each one is a different aspect of enoughness. So as we rise in body and spirit and sing this together, remember singing, we've got peace like a river in our soul, lean into what each of those verses speaks to us today. Love. We've got love like an ocean. We've got love like an ocean. We've got love like an ocean in our soul. We've got love like an ocean. We've got love like an ocean. We've got love like an ocean in our soul. We also hold pain. We've got pain like an arrow. We've got pain like an arrow. We've got pain like an arrow in our soul. We've got pain like an arrow. We've got pain like an arrow. We've got pain like an arrow in our soul. And we cry together. And I want to hear your strength. We've got strength like a mountain. We've got strength like a mountain. We've got strength like a mountain in our soul. We've got strength like a mountain. We've got strength like a mountain. We've got strength like a mountain in our soul. Yes, we do, my friends. Yes, we do. So please stay right where you are, and if you want to put your hands over your heart or hold hands with someone next to you if you have permission from them, or hold your hands open, however it is that you get connected to that larger life that moves through us and all around us and beyond us. And as we go out into this heartbreaking and beautiful world, may the light of love shine upon you, out from within you, be gracious unto you, and bring you peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And let us call out a blessing.